What happens when the man responsible for protecting a state falls for the one woman who could destroy his entire career? He was a rising senator, respected, admired, untouchable. She was the daughter of the most feared criminal in the region, a ghost the justice system could never catch. They should have never met. But the night their worlds collided, destiny didn't ask for permission, because some forbidden loves don't just break rules, they burn everything in their path. Stay with me. This story is dangerous. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit subscribe and leave your like. This channel brings you the most emotional, forbidden, and addictive stories on YouTube. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Have you ever felt something you knew you shouldn't feel? Something so wrong, yet so undeniably magnetic that denying it only makes it stronger. If you've ever looked at someone and thought, I should walk away, but your heart refused to listen, then you're going to understand exactly what happened to him. Senator Daniel Warren lived a life built on discipline, strategy, and flawless public image. Every move he made was calculated. Every word he spoke was rehearsed. Every photo taken of him was crafted to maintain one truth. He was the kind of man who didn't make mistakes. But destiny has a cruel sense of humor. It doesn't care about titles, careers, or reputations. It only cares about the cracks we try so hard to hide. And Daniel had many. He just never expected one of them to take the shape of a woman with a past drenched in danger. Her name was Elena Ruiz, a woman who carried beauty like a warning and silence like armor. Her father, one of the most powerful criminals in the state, a man whose name appeared in every sealed file, every confidential briefing, every whispered rumor. Daniel should have feared her. He should have avoided her. He should have treated her as the enemy. But the night he met Elena, none of his training mattered, because when her eyes met his, dark, wounded, too honest for someone who'd grown up surrounded by crime, something inside him shifted. Something he had spent years burying beneath responsibility and ambition. Have you ever met someone and felt your world tilt, even though nothing in your life gave permission for that feeling to exist? That's what happened to him. And Eleanor, she wasn't looking for trouble. She wasn't looking for him. She had spent her whole life running from the shadow of her father's empire, trying to build an identity that wasn't stamped with blood. But the moment she crossed paths with the senator, elegant, confident, impossibly out of reach, a quiet war began inside her. A war between who she was and who she wanted to be. As the night unfolded, their lives tangled in a way neither of them understood. One conversation turned into curiosity. Curiosity turned into tension. Tension turned into something deeper, something neither of them should feel, but both of them desperately did. You ever felt destiny tapping your shoulder, warning you that you're about to cross a line that can never be uncrossed? And yet, you still take the step? That's exactly where Daniel and Elena found themselves. And what you're about to hear now is the moment everything began to unravel. The fundraiser was supposed to be just another polished night on Senator Daniel Warren's schedule. Crystal glasses, subtle perfume, expensive laughter, fake smiles hiding real agendas. The hotel ballroom glowed with soft golden light, the kind designed to make everyone look kinder, wealthier, cleaner than they really were. Cameras hovered at the edges of the room like predators, waiting for the perfect shot of Senator Warren, future of the party. Daniel adjusted his cufflinks, offered a practiced smile, and shook the same hands he'd shaken 100 times before. Donors, lobbyists, old money pretending to care about new problems. Nothing about that night was supposed to be memorable, until she walked in. He didn't notice her at first, he noticed the silence. It started as a subtle shift, a few heads turning, whispers flying like sparks across the room. Conversations stalled. A glass clinked against marble a little too loudly. And then someone near him muttered under their breath, "Ruiz's girl." Daniel's attention snapped toward the entrance. She stood there in a simple black dress that somehow made every other dress in the room look like background noise. Her hair fell in soft waves over her shoulders, her posture straight but not stiff, confident but not hungry for attention. Elena Ruiz. He'd seen her name in reports, he'd seen her face in surveillance photos. But photos were pale copies of whatever she was in person. Because in person, she didn't look like a criminal's daughter. She looked like someone trying desperately not to belong to that label at all. One of the senior donors leaned in close to Daniel, voice low, almost gleeful. "Can you believe she showed up here? Her father must be sending a message." Daniel kept his expression neutral, but his mind sharpened. What message? And to whom? He watched as people parted around her, giving way, but not in respect. In fear. No one approached. No one welcomed her. No one offered her a drink. She was invited, technically. But she was not wanted. That alone told him everything he needed to know about the kind of prison she lived in. Daniel excused himself from the conversation and moved toward the bar, pretending to care about the vintage being served. He wasn't watching the wine. He was watching her. She made her way to a quiet corner near one of the tall windows overlooking the city lights. A waiter tried to offer her a champagne flute. She shook her head with a polite, distant smile, folding her arms as if to protect herself from something no one else could see. For a man like Daniel, curiosity was dangerous. But that night, curiosity wasn't the problem. The problem was the pull. He told himself he was just assessing risk. If Elena Ruiz was here, maybe her father had an angle, maybe someone in this room was already bought, compromised, or targeted. That was the story he repeated in his head as he crossed the ballroom. But when he reached her, it didn't feel like strategy. It felt like gravity. "Enjoying the view?" he asked, keeping his tone light, professional. She turned her head slowly, and for the first time, their eyes met. Dark, observant, and tired in a way no amount of sleep could fix. "Depends which one you mean," she replied. Her English was fluent, voice low, controlled. She gestured toward the city lights, then toward the guests behind him. "The city looks honest from up here. They don't," he almost smiled. "Senator Daniel Warren," he said, extending a hand. "I know who you are," she answered calmly, but she still took his hand. Her grip was firm, warm, present. "Elena." She didn't say her last name. He didn't need her to. For a few seconds, they just stood there. Two people who should never have shared the same space, breathing the same air, looking at each other like the rest of the room had quietly faded out. He cleared his throat. "Not many people would choose this corner at an event like this," he said. "I'm not like many people, Senator." "I figured." Her lips curved slightly, not quite a smile, but something that could become one if the world were kinder. "Most men in your position avoid me," she said. "You walk toward me on purpose. That's either very brave or very reckless." "Or both," he replied. Her eyes searched his face, as if trying to detect which one it was. "You're not afraid of me?" she asked. He shook his head. "No. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't aware of the complications." "Ah." She looked back at the city. "You're worried what it looks like. A senator talking to me." "A woman at a fundraiser?" he said. "Hardly scandalous." She let out a soft, humorless laugh. "You know that's not what I am to them." He followed her gaze briefly, catching the subtle stares, the tight mouths, the quiet judgment. Not toward him, toward her. And he realized something in that moment. Elena wasn't just living with her father's shadow. She was suffocating under it. "Tell me something, Senator," she said suddenly, her voice dropping lower. "When you talk about cleaning up crime in your speeches, do you ever picture my father's face?" He met her eyes again. "Every time," he said honestly. "And mine?" He hesitated. That was all the answer she needed. For the first time since he'd seen her, something fragile flickered in her expression, a wound opening quietly. "I see you," he said, more gently now. "Not him. Not tonight." She looked at him like she didn't quite believe that, like no one had ever said it before, like it hurt to hear it. In that moment, Daniel Warren, rational, disciplined future of the party, felt something shift inside him. Not strategy, not calculation, not political advantage. Something far more dangerous. Something he knew, even then, he should never have allowed to grow. Because a senator falling for a criminal's daughter isn't just a bad decision, it's a slow-motion explosion. And that night was the sound of the first match being struck. Daniel wasn't a man easily shaken, but something about Elena Ruiz lingered long after their first exchange. It wasn't just her beauty, though that alone could have stopped traffic. It was the contradiction she carried so effortlessly. Elegance wrapped around danger, innocence layered over a childhood built on crime. He should have walked away. He knew it. Everyone in the room knew it. But he didn't. Instead, he leaned slightly closer. Close enough to speak without anyone overhearing, far enough to pretend they weren't standing on the edge of something irreversible. "You don't seem comfortable here," he said quietly. She exhaled a slow breath, her gaze still fixed on the city below. "Because I'm not." "Then why come?" Elena finally looked at him again, really looked. Her eyes were sharp, but there was a softness beneath the surface, as if she were exhausted from carrying something too heavy for too long. "Because someone has to prove," she murmured, "that my father's crimes don't define me." The words hit him harder than he expected. "You don't owe anyone in this room a performance," Daniel replied. Her laugh was faint, but real this time. Spoken like a man who's never lived in the shadow of someone else's sins. He felt that one, because he had lived in a shadow, not of crime, but of expectation. A legacy of political perfection passed down from generation to generation. Different prisons, same bars. "People don't see who I am," she continued, her voice tightening. "They see a last name, a bloodline, a warning." "And what do you see when you look at me?" he asked. Her eyes flickered to his tie, his polished suit, the way donors watched him like a golden ticket. "A man who can ruin me," she answered simply, without even meaning to. He swallowed hard. "Elena, I don't want to ruin you." "You don't have to want it," she said softly. "It happens anyway." Silence stretched between them, not awkward, but charged. Like the pause before lightning splits the sky. Somewhere behind them a camera flash popped. Elena's posture stiffened instantly. Daniel noticed. She wasn't afraid for herself. She was afraid of what being seen with him would mean for him. She stepped back half a foot. "You should go," she whispered. "Your advisors are staring." Daniel glanced over his shoulder. Two of them stood near the bar, murmuring urgently, watching him with widening alarm. His career instincts screamed, "Walk away. Distance yourself. Pretend this never happened." But he didn't move. Instead, he asked something he shouldn't have. "Will I see you again?" Eleanor blinked, surprised, confused, maybe a little scared, but not of him, of what she felt. "Senator," she breathed, shaking her head, "we shouldn't even be talking." "That's not an answer." Her eyes softened in a way he didn't expect, like for the first time someone had spoken to her as a person, not a threat. "You're playing with fire," she warned. "I know. And you'll get burned. Maybe." He didn't sound afraid, and that terrified her. She stepped forward just enough for her perfume, subtle, warm, to reach him. "Senator Warren, I am the daughter of a criminal, and you are a man who asked a simple question," he finished. Her lips parted, but no words came. For the first time in a long time, she didn't have a script for this. Then she whispered, barely audible, "You shouldn't want to see me again. But I do." A storm passed through her eyes. Desire, fear, disbelief, and she turned away before he could read more. "Elena," he said softly. She paused but didn't look back. "Just be careful." She disappeared into the crowd, swallowed by the glittering chaos of the ballroom. Daniel remained frozen in place, pulse unsteady, breath shallow. A man who had just crossed an invisible line and knew deep down he should have run in the opposite direction. Instead, he watched her leave, and realized that one forbidden conversation had already changed something inside him, something he wasn't sure he could bury again. The morning after the fundraiser, Daniel Warren woke to a phone vibrating off the edge of his nightstand. Not unusual. Politics didn't sleep. But the tone of his advisor's voice when he answered, that was unusual. "Senator, we need you at headquarters. Now." No explanation, no warmth, just urgency, and something that sounded dangerously like panic. By the time Daniel arrived, 3 staffers were huddled around a screen, whispering in sharp, frantic breaths. The moment they saw him, they scrambled apart like children caught doing something forbidden. His communications director, Harper, stepped forward with a tight expression. "Sir, we have a problem." She clicked a remote, and an image filled the large monitor. His stomach dropped. It was a photo, grainy, zoomed in, clearly taken from across the ballroom, but unmistakable. Him, standing inches from Elena Ruiz, looking at her like no one else. In the room existed. Another advisor cursed under his breath. "How the hell did this get out?" Daniel demanded. Harper winced. "It's circulating in political circles already. A few reporters have the file. So far, no one's published, but they will," Daniel finished for her. Everyone nodded. He studied the image again, searching for something he could deny, some angle, distortion, anything he could blame on manipulation. But the truth glared back at him. He looked interested. Too interested. "Senator," Harper said carefully, "do you understand what this could do to your career, to your committee position, to the bills you're sponsoring right now?" "I spoke to her for 5 minutes," Daniel snapped. 5 minutes with the daughter of the most infamous crime boss in the state," she corrected. "And now it looks like you're involved." He stiffened. "I am not involved." But the words tasted like lies, or maybe like fear, because part of him remembered their conversation in a way he hadn't intended to. The softness in her voice, the pain she tried to hide, the way she looked at him like she'd been alone for too long. He cleared his throat. "This is a misunderstanding, that's all." Harper crossed her arms, not defiant but worried. "With respect, Senator, misunderstandings topple careers every day." He didn't respond, because she was right. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Elena Ruiz sat at a quiet cafe hidden behind an alleyway mural. Her phone rang with a number she didn't recognize. She didn't want to answer, but something inside her, curiosity, dread, hope, made her swipe. "Eleanor." Her uncle's voice, cold as steel. "You were photographed with the senator." She sat upright, heart pounding. "It was nothing," she said. "A conversation." "Nothing." His tone sharpened. "Your father's enemies will call it a weakness. His allies will call it betrayal. And the media—" He didn't need to finish. She closed her eyes. "This isn't my fault." "You carry the Ruiz name," he said. "Everything you do reflects on us, remember that." The line cut. Elena lowered the phone slowly, her hand trembling. She'd spent years trying to live a normal life. A job, school, quiet nights, distance from everything her father built. But the world never let her forget her last name. Now her attempt at one normal conversation, one moment of breathing room, had painted a target on her back and on his. Back in the headquarters, Daniel's team scrambled for damage control. "We need a statement," Harper said. "No," Daniel replied. "No?" She blinked. "I'm not making a statement about a woman who hasn't done anything wrong." His advisors exchanged horrified glances. "Sir, this is politics," one of them whispered. "The truth doesn't matter, perception does." He held her gaze, jaw tight. "I'm aware, but I won't let people tear her apart because of her father." "People will assume you care about her," Harper warned. Silence fell, because Daniel didn't respond, because responding would reveal too much, because maybe he did care. Later that evening, as the sky dimmed into shades of bruised purple, A message pinged on Daniel's phone. Unknown number. It read, "You shouldn't be near me. For your sake and mine, Elena." He stared at the screen far longer than he should have. The smart thing would have been to delete the message. The political thing would have been to block the number. But instead, he typed back, "Too late." He hit send before. He could stop himself. He didn't notice how fast his pulse was beating, because rumors hadn't just sparked a political firestorm. They had sparked something inside him too, something he wasn't ready to admit, and something Elena Ruiz wasn't ready to fight. 3 days passed. 3 days of headlines sharpening like knives. 3 days of Daniel dodging questions wrapped in fake concern. "Senator, is it true you've been meeting privately with the Ruiz family? Are you aware of the implications of associating with a criminal empire? Should your voters trust you?" He'd been in politics long enough to handle pressure, but this was different, because every accusation pointed not just at him, but at her, and that was something he refused to accept. But political storms were predictable. What wasn't predictable was the quiet knock at his office door as dusk washed the building in gold. It was Harper, pale, tense, holding a confidential folder with both hands. "Sir," she said, voice. "Sausaikas, you need to see this." He motioned for her to close the door. She laid the folder on the table between them. This came from a federal liaison. Not public yet. He opened it. Inside were surveillance photos, different angles, different days, all showing Elena Ruiz, walking home, working at her bookstore, sitting alone on a park bench. Daniel felt his pulse spike. "What is this?" he demanded. "An ongoing investigation," Harper whispered. "They're building a case against her father again. And Elena is being monitored as a potential accessory. She's not involved in her father's crimes," Daniel snapped. "You've met her." "I know." Harper lowered her eyes. "But federal agencies don't care about innocence. They care about leverage." He felt sick. "They're going to pressure her," she continued. "Use her to get to him." Something dark and protective rose in Daniel's chest. "No, I won't allow that." "Senator," Harper hesitated, "you can't interfere with federal investigations." He closed the folder with a hard slap. "Watch me." Meanwhile, in a small bookstore on the east side of town, Elena paused mid-sentence as she reorganized a display of novels. Something outside caught her attention, a glint, a reflection, maybe nothing. She brushed it off. But then she noticed it again. A car, same one from yesterday. Parked across the street, engine always running, dark windows, no movement. Her stomach tightened. She stepped outside, pretending to sweep the sidewalk, scanning. Discreetly. Nothing. No face. No hint of who was inside. Just silence. When she went back in, her hands were trembling. She wasn't stupid. She knew what surveillance felt like. She'd lived through her father's paranoia, his threats, his enemies. But this time it wasn't cartel men watching her. It was the government. And she had no idea why. That night, she made a choice. She typed the number she swore she wouldn't use again. Her message was short. "We need to talk." Daniel replied almost instantly. "Where?" She stared at the blinking cursor, then sent the address. A quiet park. After dark. Neutral ground. The meeting. She was already there when he arrived, standing beneath a street lamp, arms wrapped tightly around herself despite the warm night. "Eleanor," he said softly, stepping into the light. She didn't smile. "They're watching me," she whispered. He froze. "Who?" "Federal agents. I know surveillance when I see it." Daniel exhaled slowly, trying to steady his voice. "Eleanor, there's an investigation targeting your father. They're looking for any connection, any slip, anything they can twist, and you am an easy target." She finished the sentence for him. He nodded reluctantly. She looked away, jaw tightening. "I've spent my whole life trying to be someone else," she said quietly. "Someone different from him, Someone clean, someone decent. She paused, voice trembling. But the world always drags me back into his shadow. Daniel stepped closer. Too close for safety, too close for logic, exactly close enough for truth. You are not your father. You say that, she whispered, frustrated, but you don't live with the consequences of his name. He reached out, gently taking her hand, a bold, reckless act that he didn't fully think through. Elena, I'll protect you. She flinched, not from fear, but disbelief. You can't protect me from this, Senator. His voice dropped to a whisper. Try me. For the first time, Elena let her guard crack. Not fully. Not safely, but enough that he saw the pain she carried and the longing to be seen as someone worth saving. She stepped back suddenly. This is dangerous, she said. So am I, he replied quietly. Her breath caught. This can't happen. It already is. She looked down, swallowing hard, fighting something inside her she didn't want to name. Then she whispered, You shouldn't have come. But Daniel just shook his head. You called me. And for a split second, she let herself feel the weight of that truth, that she wanted him there, that she trusted him, that the line between them was already burning. Elena took one last step back. Daniel, if you stay close to me, you'll lose everything. He held her gaze with quiet determination. Then I'll decide what's worth losing. And Elena realized, with a fear deeper than anything her father ever inspired, this man wasn't stepping away. He was stepping in. Daniel Warren had attended more political dinners than he could count. Fundraisers, charity galas, private banquets with carefully curated guest lists and strategically placed donors. None of them had ever made his hands shake. But the night he knocked on Elena Ruiz's apartment door, his pulse was anything but steady. She opened it slowly, her hair pulled back loosely, wearing a soft sweater and jeans, a version of her he had never seen, far from the composed, guarded woman standing alone at a fundraiser. For a second, neither of them spoke. Then she stepped aside. You can. Come in, she whispered. He crossed the threshold, immediately struck by how normal her home was. Warm lighting, soft colors, a shelf overflowing with books, plants she was clearly trying and failing to keep alive. It didn't feel like the home of a cartel leader's daughter. It felt like the home of someone who had spent her life wanting peace and never finding it. I wasn't sure you'd actually come, she said, closing the door. You asked, he replied simply. Her breath hitched at the sincerity in his voice. Daniel, and dinner was supposed to be a gesture of thanks, not a... She stopped herself, unsure what word fit the moment. Not a risk, he offered. She didn't answer, because they both knew that's exactly what it was. She cooked for him. A small meal, simple, homemade, something she said she made when she felt overwhelmed. It helps me calm down, she admitted, sliding a plate toward him. He smiled softly. I didn't know the Ruiz family made time for cooking. My father, Dad doesn't, she said, but I'm not him. The quiet conviction in her voice pulled at something deep in Daniel's chest. They sat across from each other at a tiny dining table. The air felt warmer, closer, too intimate for a senator and the daughter of a wanted criminal. Is this why you invited me? He asked gently. To prove you're different from him? She looked down at her plate, pushing food around with her fork. No, she said. I invited you because you're the only person who's spoken to me. Like I'm more than a last name. That hit him harder than any political attack ever had. Elena, he said softly, you are more. She met his eyes, and for the first time, he saw vulnerability without resistance. No one ever says that, she whispered. I'm not everyone. Her lips parted. Her pulse visibly fluttered in her throat. She quickly stood up, flustered, walking to the kitchen counter under the excuse of pouring more water. But Daniel followed. Eleanor. Daniel, don't. She turned, away, gripping the counter edge. This is already too complicated. He stepped closer, not touching her, but close enough for her to feel it. "Tell me to leave," he said quietly. "Tell me you don't want me here." Silence. Her fingers tightened on the counter. She didn't tell him to leave. Instead, she whispered, "I shouldn't want you here, but you do." Her shoulders trembled. "Daniel, if anyone finds out..." "They won't." "You can't promise that." "I just did." She turned around, breathing unevenly, trying to steady herself. But the moment she looked at him, she faltered. "Your career," she murmured. "Your future. None of that matters right now." "That's the problem," she said with a sad smile. "It should." He lifted a hand slowly, giving her time to step away if she wanted. She didn't. He gently brushed a strand of hair from her cheek. Her breath caught. "I don't know how to do this," she confessed. "Neither do I." They stood inches apart, the air thick with everything they weren't saying. He leaned in, just enough for their foreheads to touch. It wasn't a kiss, but it was more intimate than one. Elena closed her eyes. "This feels dangerous," she whispered. "It is. But it also feels..." She hesitated. "Right," he finished. "Yes." They stayed like that, suspended, fragile, real, until her phone vibrated violently on the counter. She opened her eyes, dread already forming in her expression. She stepped back and grabbed the phone. One new message. From a number she knew too well. It read, "We need to talk now." Mr. Her father. Elena's face drained of color. Daniel read the fear instantly. "What is it?" She swallowed hard. "My father knows about the rumors. About us." Daniel felt a chill cut straight through him. "Elena..." "Daniel," she said, voice trembling. "This dinner should have never happened." But it did. And now there would be consequences. Elena didn't need to open the message twice. The initials alone, Miss Star, were enough to send a cold tremor through her entire body. Her father rarely contacted her directly. Silence was his version of love. When he reached out, it meant two things. Someone had crossed a line, or someone was about to bleed for crossing it. Daniel saw her expression and instantly stepped closer. "Elena, talk to me." She set the phone down carefully, as if it were made of glass that might shatter into consequences. "My father wants to see me," she whispered. "Tonight." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Because of the rumors. Because of you." The air between them shifted, heavier, sharper, suddenly edged with a danger neither of them could soften with words. "Elena," he said low. "He can't touch you." She laughed, a bitter, broken sound. "You don't understand him. My father doesn't need to touch me. All he has to do is look at me long enough to know something changed. And this..." She gestured between them, the table, the apartment. "This will change everything." Daniel stepped forward. "Then I'll come with you." She froze. "No," she breathed. "Absolutely not. If he sees you..." "He won't hurt me," Daniel said. "You don't know that." Her voice cracked. "Daniel, you're a senator, a public figure. If my father decides you're a threat, I'm not afraid of him. You should be." That landed harder than she intended, and it sat between them like a truth neither wanted to face. But the night wasn't done with them yet. A sudden knock at her door made them both go still. Not loud, not frantic, just precise. 3 taps. A pause. 2 taps. Elena's heart dropped. "That's one of his men," she whispered. "He's checking if I'm home." Daniel's hand instinctively went to her arm, pulling her gently behind him. "Elena," he murmured, "do not open that door." She grabbed his wrist. "If he hears your voice, if he even suspects someone is with me..." Another knock, this time harder. Daniel leaned close, whispering, "Do you trust me?" She didn't answer with words. She answered with her eyes. "Yes. God help her." "Yes." He stepped back, slipping silently into the hallway that led to her bedroom. "Keep the door open just enough," he whispered. "Don't let him in." She nodded, inhaled deeply, and opened the door. A tall man in a leather jacket stood there, rain dripping from his hair. His eyes scanned her face with a cold, assessing stare. "Elena," he said flatly, "your father wants you. Now." She crossed her arms, trying to hide the trembling in her hands. "It's late." He didn't ask what time it was. Her mind raced. Daniel. The photo. Her father's suspicion. "I'll come in the morning," she said. The man narrowed his eyes. "Your father said now." A subtle shift in his posture told her everything. He wasn't sent to escort her. He was sent to evaluate her, and if she refused, her father would know exactly why. She forced a calm breath. "Fine," she said. "Let me grab my coat." She closed the door, her pulse hammering, and rushed to Daniel. He stepped out from the shadows. "Eleanor?" "You can't follow me," she whispered harshly. "If he sees you near me, he'll assume the rumors are true." "They are true," Daniel said softly. She flinched, like the words physically hit her. Not officially, not in a way that gets you killed. "Elena," she placed a hand on his chest, silencing him. "This is my world. I handle him. You stay far away." For a moment, neither moved. Her hand lingered. His breath brushed her forehead. The space between them pulsed with everything they felt, but couldn't have. Then she whispered, "If my father finds out I care about you, he'll destroy you just to prove he can." Daniel didn't hesitate. Let him try. Her eyes shimmered, not with fear this time, but something dangerously close to longing. "Elena," he murmured, "I'm not stepping back. You have to. I won't." The knock came again, louder. She pulled away, her voice shaking. "Please, Daniel, don't make this harder." And for once, he listened. He stepped back into the dark hallway, hidden again, watching her. Go! Watching her walk back into the life she had been trying so desperately to escape. As the door closed behind her, one truth settled over him like a storm cloud. This wasn't political anymore. This wasn't rumor control. This wasn't temporary. This was the beginning of a war he was willing to fight, and a war she had been born into. And for the first time, Daniel understood. He wasn't up against reporters or voters anymore. He was up against a criminal empire. And he was already in too deep. Elena always hated the sound of her father's house, the silence between the marble floors, the echo of her own footsteps, the way the air seemed to tighten the deeper she walked inside. Tonight, it felt worse. Tonight, it felt like walking into a cage. 2 guards led her down the hallway, past doors she'd never been allowed to open as a child, past the room where deals were made and destinies were destroyed. The guards stopped. One of them gestured toward the office. "Elena," he said simply. She stepped in. Her father, Marcus Ruiz, sat behind a mahogany desk, back straight, hands folded. He was older now, grey streaking through his hair, lines deepened across his face. But his presence was as sharp as ever. He didn't look up when she entered. She stood there silently, waiting. He finally closed the folder he was reading. "You've been busy," he said. His voice was calm. Too calm. She swallowed. "If this is about the rumors..." "It is not about rumors," he snapped, eyes lifting to hers. "It is about pictures, surveillance, reports." Her pulse spiked. He turned the folder around. Inside was a printed photo. Daniel and Elena. At the fundraiser. Looking at each other in a way no senator and criminal's daughter should. Her father's expression didn't change. He didn't shout, didn't curse, didn't slam the desk. No. Marcus Ruiz was most dangerous when he was quiet. "Elena," he said softly, "you know what I do to men who get close to my family." Her breath hitched. "Daniel isn't involved in anything illegal." "I don't care," his voice echoed like iron. "I care that he is involved with you." She stepped forward. He didn't do anything wrong. He tilted his head, studying her. So you defend him? She froze. That dangerous glimmer in his eyes, it meant he'd already made up his mind. Of all the men in the world, he said, you choose a powerful politician. Do you want the police in our home? Do you want federal agents raiding my businesses? Father, do you want to see me in prison? The calm mask cracked for half a second. Is that your plan? She felt the old childhood fear rising in her chest, but she forced herself to breathe. I have no plan, she said quietly. I just met someone. The room went completely silent. Her father leaned back in his chair. So it's true, she blinked. What is? You care about him. Elena's throat tightened. I never said you didn't have to. He stood, circling the desk slowly. When you were a child, you couldn't lie to me. You still can't. She lowered her gaze. It didn't matter, he already knew. Listen to me, he said, voice low, deadly. A man like Daniel Warren doesn't love women like you. He uses them. And when he is done, when you have served whatever purpose he decided, he will drop you. He will stand in front of cameras and deny you ever existed. That's not who he is, she whispered. You think you know him? Her father's voice grew colder. Men like him and men like me, we are no different. We protect our power, and we destroy anything that threatens it. That's not true, she said again, stronger this time. Marcus Ruiz stepped so close she could feel his breath on her forehead. You want to know why I'm angry, he whispered. It's because you let him see you, the real you. His jaw tightened. And I taught you better. A tear slid down her cheek. She hadn't even felt it forming. Her father continued. End whatever this is. Tonight. And if I don't, she whispered. He smiled. A terrifying, quiet smile. Then I will end it for you. Her heart plummeted. He leaned even closer. One phone call, he murmured. That's all it takes. He will disappear, and no one, not even you, will ever find him. Eleanor's vision blurred. You wouldn't, she breathed. I would, he said, because I love you. And for the first time in her life, she realized her father's version of love was just another weapon. That night, Eleanor left his house shaking. She didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't fall apart, not until she reached her car. Her hands trembled on the steering wheel as she whispered to herself, Daniel, and what have we done? Because now she understood something she hadn't seen clearly before. This wasn't just forbidden. This wasn't just dangerous. This wasn't just political. Her father had given a warning, not a threat, a promise. And Elena knew with absolute certainty, if Daniel didn't walk away from her soon, he wouldn't walk away at all. Daniel always believed that political storms could be managed. A mistake could be spun, a rumor could be denied, a scandal could be buried. But the moment he stepped into the Capitol building the next morning, he realized this wasn't a storm. It was a wildfire. Reporters swarmed him before he even made it through the metal detectors. Flashing cameras, flying microphones, overlapping questions. Senator Warren, can you confirm your connection to Elena Ruiz? Is it true you've been meeting privately with her? Are you aware her father is under federal investigation? Are you being blackmailed? Are you protecting the Ruiz crime family? He raised his hands, trying to keep control. No comments at this time. But the damage was already spreading, fast. Inside his office, Harper and 3 other advisors looked like they'd aged 10 years overnight. Senator, Harper said urgently, this is spiraling. You need to release a statement, today. Daniel loosened his tie, pacing. What do they want me to say? That you don't know her, one advisor said. That you barely spoke to her, another added. That you have 0 personal involvement, Harper finished. Daniel froze mid-step. Lie. They wanted him to lie. He stared at the floor for a long moment. His pulse beat in his throat. A part of him wanted to do it. to protect his future, his career, the legislation he'd spent years building. But another part, the part that kept remembering Elena's trembling voice the night before, refused. "I won't deny knowing her," he said. Finally, 3 jaws dropped. "Senator," Harper said slowly, "if you don't make distance, the media will assume the worst. They already assume the worst." "That's not the point," she snapped. "The point is survival, political survival." Daniel stepped closer to the window, watching the reporters climb the steps like vultures waiting for a corpse. He wasn't afraid of them. He was afraid of Elena's father, the man who could kill a senator with the same ease he signed checks, but walking away from her, pretending she didn't exist, letting the world crucify her because of her last name. Daniel couldn't stomach it. His silence stretched until Harper spoke again, this time more softly. "Daniel, please don't do something reckless." He turned. "It's too late for that." And then he made the mistake that put a target on his back, despite every warning, every plea, every political instinct he'd ever learned. Daniel left his office through the front entrance, not the underground garage, not the private tunnel, not the service exit, the front, directly into the sea of cameras. Harper's voice screamed behind him, "Senator, wait!" But he didn't. He stepped up to the microphones, face unflinching. "Before we begin," he said firmly, "I want to make one thing clear." Dozens of cameras zoomed in. Elena Ruiz is not her father. The entire crowd gasped. A dozen reporters spoke at once. He raised a hand, continuing. "She is a private citizen who attended a public event. She is not under investigation. She has not committed a crime. And I will not allow anyone, media or political opponent, to use her as leverage to attack me." Chaos erupted. Questions flew like bullets. "Are you romantically involved with her? Did you meet her in private? Are you protecting the Ruiz family? Is this relationship appropriate for a senator?" Daniel spoke over them. "Elena Ruiz is not the person you should be looking at." And then, the words that destroyed any chance of walking this back. "If you want to question someone's integrity, question mine. Leave her out of this." He stepped away. He didn't look back, but someone else was watching. From a black SUV parked across the street, a man lowered his binoculars. He wasn't a reporter. He wasn't a lobbyist. He wasn't a staffer. He was one of Marcus Ruiz's men. He pulled out his phone and called a number saved only as Mimsar. "It's true," he said. The senator defended her, publicly. A long silence. Then Ruiz's voice. "Prepare a car. We're paying Senator Warren a visit." Across town, Elena watched the speech on her phone. Her chest tightened with every word. Her throat burned. Her eyes filled. "He shouldn't have done that," she whispered. But she couldn't stop the warmth that spread through her. He was protecting her, risking everything, when everyone else had only used her name to hurt her. Her phone vibrated. A new message, from an unknown number. "You cost him more than you know." The blood drained from her face. It had begun. Her father was moving, and Daniel had just put himself directly in the crosshairs. Daniel didn't notice the danger at first. He walked out of the press briefing feeling strangely lighter, like speaking the truth, even recklessly, had unclenched something inside him. But the relief lasted exactly 8 steps. That's when he saw Harper sprinting toward him. "Daniel, get inside. Now." Her voice wasn't irritated. It was terrified. He barely had time to react before she grabbed his coat, yanking him backward just as a black SUV sped past the Capitol steps, window rolling down. A flash of metal. A muzzle. A shot. The round shattered the marble railing inches from Daniel's head. Secret Service agents erupted from everywhere at once. "Go, move! Shoot her, get the senator inside." Daniel was shoved behind 2 agents as 3 more returned fire, the sharp crack of bullets ricocheting across the courtyard. The SUV fishtailed, tires screaming, and disappeared into traffic before anyone could get a clear plate. Heart hammering, ears ringing, Daniel stumbled into the building as the heavy doors slammed shut behind him. Harper's face was ghost pale. "Are you insane?" she shouted. "You can't walk into a press pit and defend the daughter of a cartel leader. You painted a target on your chest." Daniel swallowed hard. "They were aiming to kill me." "They were," Harper snapped, "and they're not done." A Secret Service agent stepped forward. "Senator, we need to relocate you immediately. This was a professional hit." Daniel's jaw tightened. He knew exactly who ordered it. Marcus Ruiz didn't send warnings. He sent death. And Daniel's speech had been a declaration of war. Across town, Elena felt the world collapse. She watched the live news feed in horror as reporters replayed the footage on loop, the SUV, the gunshot, the senator being dragged to safety. Her legs gave out and she sank onto the edge of the bed. No, 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 no. Her phone buzzed again. A new message. "This is your fault." Her throat tightened. She knew who sent it, or at least who ordered it. Her father wasn't angry at Daniel. He was angry at her, because Daniel had done the one thing Marcus Ruiz despised above all else, shown loyalty to someone outside the family. Tears burned behind her eyes. She grabbed her keys and bolted out of the apartment. She needed to find Daniel, warn him, explain, beg him to stay away before her father finished what he'd started. Back at the capital, the danger wasn't over. Daniel was escorted to a secure underground floor, but even surrounded by agents, he couldn't stay still. "This is about Elena," he said. "They're targeting me because of her. I need to know she's safe." "You're not going anywhere," the lead agent replied firmly. "Until we clear the area, you stay put." But Daniel stepped closer, voice low, steady, and deadly serious. "Her father just tried to assassinate a United States senator. Do you think he'll hesitate to hurt his own daughter?" The room fell silent, because everyone knew he was right. Harper rubbed her forehead. "Daniel, please, don't make this harder." He turned toward her, eyes blazing with something she had never seen in him before. "I'm not abandoning her." Then the security alarm blared, a loud, piercing echo that vibrated through the concrete walls. One of the agents looked down at his earpiece. "Unidentified breach at the west entrance. Possible secondary attack." Daniel felt every muscle tighten. "They're not after me anymore," he whispered. "They're after her." And he was right. Because at that exact moment, Elena was running straight into danger. She had just reached the Capitol grounds when she saw two men, dressed in civilian clothes but moving with military precision, scanning the crowd with photographs in hand. Her photograph. Her lungs froze. Father's men. She ducked behind a pillar, heart pounding so loudly she could hear it in her ears. She needed to get away. She needed to... "Elena!" She spun around. Daniel was running toward her, flanked by two agents who were shouting for him to stop. Their eyes met, and everything else faded. Fear, chaos, noise. It all dissolved into one terrifying truth. They had both become targets, for loving each other, for protecting each other, for choosing each other. Daniel reached her just as one of Ruiz's men spotted them. "There!" A gun lifted. A trigger tightened. Daniel grabbed Elena and shoved her behind a concrete barrier as the shot exploded through the air. Agents opened fire, people screamed. Chaos erupted. Dust filled the air. Elena clung to him, shaking, whispering against his shoulder. "They're going to kill us both." Daniel pressed his forehead to hers. "Not if I get to them first." And in that moment, with bullets flying and the world collapsing, neither of them fully understood that this was no longer a political scandal. It was war. A war they didn't start. A war they couldn't walk away from. A war they now had to survive together. The Capitol was still shaking when the gunfire finally stopped. Sirens, shouts, footsteps pounding against stone. Daniel held Elena against his chest as agents swarmed the courtyard, dragging Ruiz's men to the ground. Dust drifted through the air like ash after a wildfire. "Are you hurt?" Daniel asked, breathless. Elena shook her head, but her eyes were broken. "They won't stop," she whispered. "My father won't stop. You saved me. And now, he'll make you pay for it. Daniel cupped her face gently, forcing her to look at him. "Elena, I'm not afraid of him." "You should be," she cried. "He has men everywhere. Police, judges, politicians. Daniel, he'll come after everyone around you, not just you." Daniel swallowed hard, because he knew this wasn't a single attack. This wasn't revenge. This was the beginning of a hunt, and Elena was right in the center of it. 2 agents rushed toward them. "Senator, we need to extract you both. Now." Daniel helped Elena stand, but she stumbled. He caught her again, tightening his hold. Harper ran up to them, out of breath. "They're regrouping. We need to leave before round 2. But Elena shook her head. "No, you need to let me go." Daniel felt something cold crawl up his spine. "What are you talking about?" Elena stepped back, not far, but enough to shift the air between them. "This is happening because of me. My father won't stop unless I disappear." Daniel's voice dropped to a sharp whisper. "Absolutely not. Daniel, I'm not letting you walk into danger alone." She closed her eyes because the truth was tearing her apart. "If I stay with you, you'll lose everything. Your career, your life, your future." Daniel stepped closer. "Elena, listen to me. You think I care about the Senate? You think I care about re-election or speeches or polls?" His voice cracked, the way a man sounds when he finally admits something he's been carrying alone. "You're the only thing I'm not willing to lose." Her breath caught, because she felt the same. She had felt the same since the night he drove her home in silence, but looked at her like he saw through every wall she had ever built. Harper interrupted, voice urgent. "Daniel, I'm sorry, but you have to decide right now. We can get you into federal protection, or—" She hesitated, eyes landing on Eleanor. "Both of you disappear." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Disappear. Abandon everything. Become ghosts. It wasn't just a choice. It was a sacrifice. Elena felt tears fill her eyes. "Daniel, you worked your whole life for this. You can't throw it away for me." Daniel shook his head, jaw tight. "I'm not choosing between my career and you. I'm choosing between living, Tui, and surviving." He reached for her hand. "I don't want a life without you in it." Her resolve crumbled, because she realized she didn't want one without him either. A new explosion echoed in the distance, a car igniting in the parking structure. Harper swore. "We're out of time." Daniel turned to Eleanor, gripping her hands like they were the only thing anchoring him to the world. "Eleanor, whatever comes next, we face it together. But I need you to say it. I need to hear it." She looked at him, really looked at him, and felt the truth settle deep inside her chest. "I choose you," she whispered, "even if it ruins everything." Daniel pulled her into his arms, forehead pressed to hers. "Then let's burn the map," he murmured, "and start over somewhere they'll never find us." Harper gestured toward the armored SUV. "Move, now!" Daniel grabbed Elena's hand. They ran, past the broken marble, past the bullet holes, past the life Daniel used to live. And as the SUV doors slammed shut behind them, one truth echoed louder than the sirens. They weren't just escaping danger. They were choosing each other, no matter the cost, no matter the war, no matter who came after them next. Because some loves aren't meant to be safe, they're meant to be unstoppable.